I returned home that evening with a strange heaviness in my chest. The sky was a deep, bruised purple, and the air felt colder than usual, almost unnaturally cold. Our old house stood at the end of the lonely, three-line road, quiet, too quiet. As I walked up the steps, the front door was slightly open. It was the first sign something was wrong. Inside, the hallway lights flickered. Once, then again. I stepped forward slowly, calling out, "Maria, you home?" No more response. I pushed the door wider. And that's when I heard it. A faint whispering sound coming from upstairs, like someone murmuring under their breath. I took one step up the stairs. Suddenly, "Don't come in. Get out now." Maria burst from the hallway, her eyes wide awake with terror. Her face was drenched in sweat, her apron torn. She grabbed my arm so tightly it hurt. "Please, run," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Don't go upstairs, don't look, just run." I had never seen her like this. Her fear was not normal, it was the kind of fear that freezes your blood. Before I could ask anything, she shoved me toward the door. I stumbled outside, breathless, confused, heart pounding. I hid behind the oak tree in the front yard, watching the house. The whispering grew louder and deeper. No more longer one voice numbing. Then, the lights in the house went out. Every window went black. 5 minutes later, a sound shattered the silence. Not footsteps, not a door slamming, not a scream, but laughter. Low, inhuman, echoing laughter that seemed to crawl across the walls. Then something moved behind the upstairs window. A tall, twisted silhouette, looking unnaturally, as if its bones were bent the wrong way. Maria was at my side again, trembling uncontrollably. "I told you not to go in," she whispered. "They're awake now." "Who?" he asked, my voice barely a breath. She didn't look at me. Her eyes stayed fixed on the house. "The ones that left her before you," she sighed. "The ones that never left." Before I could respond, the front door of the house creaked open slowly, painfully, like someone pushing it from inside. But no more one stepped out. Instead, the house itself seemed to breathe. A long, drawn-out inhale. Then, "Come back," a voice whispered from inside. A voice that sounded exactly like mine. Maria clutched my hand. "We have to run far." Andy never returned. The door slammed shut behind you as with a force that shook the ground. We ran down the road. Both of you was shaking. Tears in my eyes as I kept looking back. The house stood still, Jen, silent, waiting. But I knew, if I had taken even one more step inside that evening, I wouldn't have walked out again. Andy, the thing that called my name, would be the one telling the story instead of me. The next morning, the storm had passed, but the house still seemed alive. Even from a distance, I could see shadows moving behind the curtains, though Maria insisted no more one was there. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed you as every creak of a branch. Every whisper of wind sounded like footsteps behind me. I tried to sleep, but each time I closed my eyes, I saw the twisted silhouette at the window, the one I thought I had left behind. Hours later, the police called. I had checked the house and decided it was empty. No more forced entry. No more footprints. Maybe it was just the bad night, one officer suggested, but his eyes betrayed uncertainty. I knew better. That night, the whispers returned this time inside my bedroom. At first, I thought it was Maria trying to calm me. But then I heard it. "You can't hug. You belong to us." I froze. My room was dark. The window slightly ajar. A cold breeze brushed my face, and I could feel it, watching me. I ran to Maria. Shaking, she caught my arm, her hands icy cold. "They're not human," she said. "They live in the walls. In the shadows, they feed on fear. They know your every move." Before I could speak, the lights in the house flickered violently. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, forming shapes that shouldn't exist. I could see faces in the dark, grinning, twisted, staring. And then, from the corner of the room, a hand emerged, pale, long, almost skeletal, and it moved toward me. I screamed. Maria pushed me off the door just as the hand grasped the bedpost behind us. The wall seemed to breathe, expanding, then contracting like a living creature. The air itself felt heavy, suffocating. "We ran again," This time to a neighbor's house, but even there, he felt them watching, waiting. Maria whispered something he will never forget. You cannot run forever. The house knows you now. And it will come for you when you least expect it. That night, I understood the truth. The house was alive, the house was hungry. Andy was its next target. He didn't sleep again for nights. Every shadow, every creak, every whisper made me jump. He started seeing them everywhere tall. Dark figures lurking in corners, following me, waiting. Andy deep down, in 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 5 days, it would call my name again. Andy, when it is, there would be no more one to save me. Days had passed, but the shadows never left. Every time he blinked, I felt their eyes on me watching, waiting, calculating. Maria refused to leave my side. She said it was the only way to survive. Face the house, confront it. He didn't want to. He wanted to burn the house down, run far away, pretend none of it had happened, but Maria shook her head. They'll come for you no more matter what. She whispered, you have to enter, only then can this end. He didn't believe her. But that night, the whispers grew louder. They were inside my dreams now, chanting my name, dragging me toward the house. We woke up drenched in sweat. Andy, the moonlight revealed footprints leading from my bedroom to the street. I hadn't left, I hadn't moved. The house was calling me. He had no more choice. He grabbed a flashlight, my phone, and he followed Maria into the stormy night. Every step closer, the air grew colder. Ika, a front door creaked open before we touched it as if inviting us in. Our warning us not there. Inside, the house was alive in a way they defied reason. The walls pulsed, breathing, shadows stretched, and they twisted, forming figures with eyes that gleamed like molten metal. Whispers screamed, layered over each other, drowning out my thoughts. Maria led me to the staircase. She handed me a small wooden box. Inside is what I fear. She said, open it when you're ready. He took it with trembling hands. The box was warm, almost alive. We reached the second floor, and there they were. A figure tall, grotesque, unmoving, until they noticed us. They moved in unison, gliding across the floor, their laughter echoing off the walls. My flashlight flickered. Their faces, human, yet distorted, their mouths stretched into unnatural smiles. Now, Maria shouted. He opened the box. A blinding light exploded from it. The shadows shrieked. The walls trembled. He saw their true forms cells trapped in darkness, feeding on fear, unable to stand the light. One by one, they vanished, dissolving into smoke. The whispers turned into agonized wails, and then silence. The house seemed to exhale. Heavy and relief, the walls stopped moving. The shadows were gone. We ran outside. Dawn was breaking. And the first sunlight in the estate roof, the house sat quietly now, empty, as if nothing had happened. Maria turned to me, exhausted but smiling faintly. They're gone, for now, she said. But houses like this never truly die. They just wait. I looked back at the silent, dark house. I felt fear, and I knew one day it might call my name again. But for now, I survived. Weeks had passed since that night. The sun shone, birds chirped. And the world went on as if nothing had happened, but I knew better. The shadows had retreated, not disappeared. I moved back into my home. Cautiously, every corner I turned, every door I opened. I expected the darkness to surge back. Maria stayed with me, her presence both comforting and unnerving. She never let me go alone. At first, things seemed normal. I even started to sleep, but then it began again. A faint whisper from the kitchen. You can't hide forever. I froze, my heart raced. I wasn't dreaming. I could feel the air thicken, a coldness wrapping around my neck. I turned on the lights, nothing. But in the reflection of the window, I saw a shadow. How and unnatural, standing behind me, I spun around empty room. I ran outside, gasping. Maria caught up. She grabbed my hand. They're waiting, she said quietly, her eyes scanning the darkened windows. They always wait. But this time, they know you're aware. that makes you dangerous to them. Days later, the police found something strange. The house we had confronted, the one that had nearly killed me, was reported abandoned for decades, long before we moved in. No more prior owners, no more history of murders, nothing. Yet, when I looked at it from the street, I could swear I saw movement in the windows, figures watching, waiting. And sometimes, late at night, I hear it again soft, almost casual. Don't come in, or you'll never leave. I never ignore it. I never enter. Because I know the truth. The house is patient. It waits. And one day, it will call my name again.
The days after the last encounter were tense. Every time I closed my eyes, the shadows haunted me. Even in daylight, I could feel their gaze. Maria never left my side, and I began to wonder if the house had truly released me, or if it was simply biding its time. One night, a strange wind blew through the neighborhood. The air was thick and heavy. My phone buzzed with a notification someone had posted a video online, a video of the house. The timestamp was tonight, but no one should have been there. Curiosity and fear battled inside me, but I knew I had to see it. I stepped outside. The house looked normal, silent. To normal, and then a window flickered. A pale face appeared, staring directly at me. Its eyes glowed red in the darkness. I ran. Maria ran with me. But as we reached the street, I heard it. The voice, calm and terrifying. You cannot escape. You belong to me now. Suddenly, a shadow shot from the window, rushing toward us. But just before it reached me, the first light of dawn broke over the horizon. The shadow shrieked and vanished, dissolving into the morning mist. I collapsed, gasping. Maria held me tight. We survived. For now, she whispered. But remember, houses like this never truly die. They wait, and they always return. I knew she was right. Every shadow I see, every creak I hear, reminds me that the nightmare could begin again at any moment. And yet, I am alive. For now. If you enjoyed this terrifying story, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel for more scary stories,